Hey everyone. I wanted to start with a phrase that I actually, well, a paragraph that I came up with last night that I've been working on recently for myself. Anyway, I think it's quite relevant for people trying to understand people with Asperger's and people with Asperger's to understand. I'm not presuming that this works for everyone, but I know it's how I function myself. And if it's going to help someone else, I hope, well, that's the reason I'm putting it up. So, the phrase starts with the emotions of Asperger's. I'll just continue with the phrase. Uh, my emotions are a torrent of very strong focus power that can lead me any way, good or bad, if I do not keep an eye on them. So to lower my guard and to be open with emotions is hard in a world of people that don't understand the strength or the different complexities of my emotions. Because this world has trouble understanding it, mostly because it's not a majority. It may be that there was never anyone around to teach me mindfulness or how to guide my feelings properly when I was younger, which is obviously no one's fault because no one knew it was going to happen. And I don't believe in fault anyway. I want that to be clear. I don't believe people are at fault. They only have as much information as they can, and they only can make a clear decision on what to work on. In the area I believe in fault is if someone intentionally does the decision that they could know, that they do know may have disastrous effects, and they do not take responsibility for it. If someone takes responsibility, I won't fault them. I'm completely getting off topic. Alright. But it makes it harder still to feel my way around understandings and ideas till I find out what works. All the while trying to make educated guess about the habits that are for typical neurotypical brain chemistry and which are not. Like all the other videos, I'll just clarify. Neurotypical brain chemistry is the most common genetic brain chemistry in society, in existence, and usually considered people who are normal. And just to clarify what I meant by habits, because most ego taught habits in society are neurotypical brain chemistry, therefore neurotypical brains, they don't work for people with Asperger's. And if anything, they tend to teach us social dysfunction, and which leads us into depression and other mental problems. The life of someone with Asperger's is diversity. If we have the support and the love to keep going, then we usually push through pretty well. So I want to push forward the point that just because someone says it's the way to do it doesn't mean it is for you. So many people I know fall into the praying fatalities of expectations of the people around them. And we're trying to fit in. We're all trying to get along. We're all trying to fit in. We're all trying to be loved. And it's really hard not to. And this goes for everyone, not just people with Asperger's. It goes for everyone that we all try to get into this model that everyone else has set for us because we want everything to be happy. What my point is, it's just fine not being. It's just fine being the way you are, existing the way you are. I know for a fact that I do not want to be what my mum and dad want me to be. My mum's very good at not putting expectations on me, though my dad is terrible at it. He's not intending to do it this, but it's something that's been taught and beaten into him, not literally, beaten into him by his parents. And he comes from a very stubborn family which refuses to deal with their problems and blames the other person for it. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad, it doesn't mean it's gross or disgusting or terrible. It's just the way he is. And he has his own power to break away from that, but that's his choice and that's his journey. For me, my journey is to find out what I am for. I kind of feel like existence is that everyone has a purpose, and their purpose is their own to find. It can never be given to you by another person, only suggested and guided. I know for a fact that my brother Matt chose second best for his proficiency, yeah, proficiency, job, career. I don't think he wanted to be a builder when he was younger. And I'm not saying that just because you're young, you know what you would want to do, but I think he really looked for it. He kind of fell into building because it's what my dad wanted, and he was so intensely driven to please my dad for a long time that he fell into it. And he's a good builder. He's amazing at his job. I would employ him to build a house because I know he's that kind of builder, not because he's my brother. And he is an excellent boss. He works really well with his employees. He manages things quite well. So he's really not fallen behind. He's not caused a fault by his actions. I don't know if it's something he wants to do for the rest of his life or not. And I hope that if it isn't something he wants to do for the rest of his life, then it's definitely something he shouldn't do. And I have to admit, my brother Dale, he's always done what he wanted to do. He's been very stubborn that way. So I think he's chosen a way that worked for him. But then again, he's still chosen something that worked for him, not something that he was amazing at. Frankly, I think my brother Dale is more suited for art and um, being a comedian than he is at being a diesel mechanic. He loves vehicles. He loves trucks. It's his thing. It's one of his favorite things. But I still feel that he's ignoring a side of himself that will only hurt him later on. Though I think he's found ways that he can be that person at the same time. So I have to admit, I cannot fault Dale in any way for being the person he is. He is exactly what he wants to be. My brother Matt, I can't fault him for his decisions either because he chose them and he's also gone with them. But for me, it's so difficult to accept a decision that isn't my own. Because in the past, every decision I've accepted that wasn't my own, that came from another person, via expectations, has led me down a path of nothing but pain and anguish. Frankly, the only real thing I think I've ever chosen to do is take things the hardest way possible. I tend to pick the most difficult paths for myself and end up getting myself quite bloody and bruised because of it. But at the same time, I wouldn't be the person I am today without it. When I picked to do contemporary arts, it was a real struggle, and I really pushed myself beyond my own limits, and my health degraded to a point where I was actually sick for months on end. Wasn't a very happy time, but I made it through, and it wasn't easy, and I think I knew it wasn't easy, and I think that's why I chose to do it. I don't really get the education system and how it functions. Like, we've got these courses that run for years doing only one subject where I don't believe focusing on one thing for your entire life does anything but stunt other abilities. Anyway, expectations and emotions. So, how to explain this? My emotions are there and they're quite chaotic when introduced to neurotypical dynamics in social behavior. There's a lot of things that I come across that I actually stop my emotions from interacting with because of the fact that I think I'll have a reaction to it that other people around me won't accept. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to suddenly blow up and start throwing bottles at someone's head or anything. That is not the fact. It's just that it'll be socially unaccepted and I'll be ostracized because of that. And you know what? I don't want to hang around people who can't accept that side of me. My best friends, my group of friends, I feel so comfortable and happy with because I don't have to be anything in the group. I could sit there not saying a word for the entire night and they would accept that. They would be like, yep, it's just what he's feeling like doing. And I love that about my friends. They really are a strong pillar in my life. And this is what I think is really important about with people with autism. We get stuck in our ways and we tend to be scared of having a friend group of responsibilities. And we've got all these ideas that people have taught us we have to be in order to have friends, which are not true. You really need to just stop and think about what you want to be and who you want to be and why you want to be that. And then find people that will accept it because people will. There are so many people in the world that it's impossible to not find people that won't accept you for who you are, no matter how crazy or different you are. And I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy being different and crazy. My friends love it. I come out of left field with some kind of point of view or question, and they love it. They feed off it. We make a big joke about it, and I have a good laugh about my own difference in view. And also because I'm sharing it with them, and a lot of them go, "Huh, never really thought I was thinking of it that way." And they love me for that, and I'm quite happy with continuing on that path. So emotions for me can be quite powerful, and a lot of people get scared away by this because, well, with mirror neurons, when people are around others and an emotional thing happens, you tend to be connected to their emotion at the same time. It's a way that just human beings work so that the pack system can work together, so everyone's kind of thinking the same thing. Now, for me, when I'm not thinking the same thing as everyone else and I have an emotion, it tends to confuse them. My group of friends is so laid back that this tends to not affect them in a way that they get um, exclusive about it, I guess. They tend to accept me exactly the way that is because I'm not the kind of person who will make a fuss or be difficult. And they're so laid back and I'm laid back with them. It took me a long while to learn all the real basic things that uh, a lot of people in normal society understand, being like the ability to laugh at yourself. That is hugely important. Not to take it so seriously that it does nothing but snowball your emotions into a completely uncontrollable force of chaos. Yeah, because that's fun. Let's be self-destructive and destroy our relationships with people around us. I think it's really funny that people think that people with Asperger's don't have emotions because the fact is we've been taught not to show them because they do nothing but confuse people around us. I'm not sure if this has the same effect of people with Asperger's communicating with someone else with Asperger's. I don't actually have much contact with people with Asperger's. I'm a bit proud and stubborn that way, I guess. I always wanted to see what it took to be part of everything and not one thing. I don't see any loyalty to people with Asperger's, nor loyalty to people with neurotypical brain chemistry. I just see people as people. There's differences that are calculatable, but past that, everyone's everyone, and they all have their own thing, their own problems, their own joys, their own passions. And I think the best thing I learned was to accept people for exactly who they are. All right, I'm running out of time, so I better sign off. See you guys.